Hello and welcome to my channel again. My name is Rainer and this is Rainierbooks. Every new month I present you a couple of books that are going to be published over the course of the coming month that I think are interesting to read. Which doesn't mean I don't get any ARCs by the publishers. I'm not paid by the publishers. I don't get how do you call it, unready copies of those. I just do a lot of research, and I like to do the research to find books that are interesting to me and that might be interesting to you. And when I look back at the videos that I've done last year, I started doing this in June. So I did 7 of those videos in 2020, and this is number 8. In 2021 then, I actually acquired a lot of the books, and I also read a couple of the books that I have recommended. So I still have my eyes on these lists all the time. And here's my list for January of 2021. 4 books that I think are sounding very interesting to me for the month of January, and hopefully to you too. Let's get started. First one is by Mateo Askaripour. It's called Black Buck. It's published by Houghton, Mifflin and Harcourt, and it will be published on January the 5th, which is tomorrow if I publish this video on Monday as it is planned. I film on Sunday, so I have the same shirt here that I had on the video with my weekly wrap-up. Black Buck by Mateo Askaripour. An unambitious 22-year-old Darren lives in a Bed-Stuy brownstone with his mother, who wants nothing more than to see him live up to his potential as the valedictorian of Bronx science. But Darren is content working at Starbucks in the lobby of a midtown office building, hanging out with his girlfriend, Soraya, and eating his mother's home-cooked meals. All that changes when a chance encounter with Rhett Daniels, the silver-tongued CEO of Sunone, NYC's hottest tech startup, results in an exclusive invitation for Darren to join an elite sales team on the 36th floor. After enduring a hell week of training, Darren, the only black person in the company, reimagines himself as Buck, a ruthless salesman unrecognizable to his friends and family. But when things turn tragic at home and Buck feels he's hit rock bottom, he begins to hatch a plan to help young people of color infiltrate America's sales force, setting off a chain of events that forever changes the game. Black Buck is a hilarious, razor-sharp skewering of America's workforce. It is a propulsive, crackling debut that explores ambition and race and makes way for a necessary new vision of the American dream. Black Buck by Mateo Askaripour. The second book is by another Afro-American author. This is Keisha Buck with No Heaven for Good Boys. 6-year-old Ibrahiman loves snatching pastries from his mother's kitchen, harvesting string beans with his father, and searching for sea glass with his sisters. But when he is approached in his rural village one day by Marabut Ahmed, a seemingly kind stranger and highly regarded teacher, the tides of his life turn forever. Ibrahima is sent to the capital city of Dakar to join his cousin Etienne in studying the Quran under Marabut Ahmed for a year, but instead of the days of learning that Ibrahiman's parents imagine, the young boys called talibé are forced to beg in the streets in order to line their teachers' pockets. To make it back home, Etienne and Ibrahima must help each other survive both the dangers posed by their marabut and the darker sides of Dakar, threats of black market organ traders, rival packs of talibé, and mounting student protest on the streets. Drawn from real incidents and transporting readers between rural and urban Senegal, No Heaven for Good Boys is a tale of hope, resilience, and the affirming power of love. The author Keisha Buck has lived for a couple of years in the Western African country of Senegal. The only non-fiction book among my choice for January is by Maurice Chammah, Let the Lord Sort Them, The Rise and Fall of the Death Penalty, published by Crown on January 28th this year. Let the Lord Sort Them is a translation of a phrase of the Bible, from the Bible. In 1972, the United States Supreme Court made a surprising ruling. The country's death penalty system violated the Constitution. The backlash was swift, especially in Texas, where executions were considered part of the cultural fabric, and a dark history of lynching was masked by gazy visions of a tough-on-crime frontier. When executions resumed, Texas quickly became the nationwide leader in carrying out the punishment. Then, amid a larger wave of criminal justice reform, came the death penalty's decline, a trend so durable that even in Texas the punishment appears again close to extinction. In Let the Lord Sort Them, Maurice Chammah charts the rise and fall of capital punishment through the eyes of those it touched. We meet Elsa Acala, the orphaned daughter of a Mexican-American family who found her calling as a prosecutor in the nation's death penalty capital before becoming a judge on the state's highest court. We meet Danilyn Reeser, a lawyer who became obsessively devoted to unearthing the life stories of men who committed terrible crimes and fought for mercy in courtrooms across the state. We meet death row prisoners, many of them once famous figures like Henry Lee Lucas, Gary Graham, and Carla Faye Tucker, along with their families and the families of their victims. And we meet the executioners, who struggle openly with what society has asked them to do. In tracing these interconnected lives against the rise of mass incarceration in Texas and the country as a whole, Chammah explores what the persistence of the death penalty tells us about forgiveness and retribution, about fairness and justice and history and myth. Written with intimacy and grace, Let the Lord Sort Them is the definitive portrait of a particularly American institution. This seems to be a very powerful and very scary. And the fourth and the last book that I have on my recommendations for January of 2021, which is also a young adult book by an author who is one of the superstars of the genre. This is Angie Thomas, coming on January 12th by Balzer and published by Balzer and Bray, with her new book called Concrete Rose. The international phenomenon Angie Thomas revisits Garden Heights 17 years before the events of The Hate You Give in this searing and poignant exploration of black boyhood and manhood. If there's one thing 17-year-old Maverick Carter knows, it's that a real man takes care of his family. As the son of a former gang legend, May does that the only way he knows how, dealing for the King Lords. With this money he can help his mom, who works 2 jobs while his dad's in prison. Life's not perfect, but with a fly girlfriend and a cousin who always has his back, May's got everything under control. Until, that is, Maverick finds out he's a father. Suddenly he has a baby, 7, who depends on him for everything. But it's not so easy to sling dope, finish school, and raise a child. So when he's offered the chance to go straight, he takes it. In a world where he's expected to amount to nothing, in a world where he's expected to amount for nothing, maybe Mav can prove he's different. When King Lord, blood runs through your vein, though you can't just walk away. Loyalty, revenge, and responsibility threaten to tear Mav apart, especially after the brutal murder of a loved one. He'll have to figure out for himself what it really means to be a man, about the struggle to get out of gang violence, about gang structures. That could also play here in Stockholm, this book by Angie Thomas, Concrete Rose, coming out on January 12th, and I'm sure it will be another huge success for this great author. These were my 4 recommendations for the month of January of 2021. If you have new books that you would like to recommend to me and to others, please drop a note, please drop a comment in the section down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. Wear a mask, stay safe, and see you soon. Bye-bye.